Lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. It's time for a build in Granite Falls. I decided to build an A-frame house. An A-frame house has the shape of the letter A or a triangle, so the shape is what's special about this build or any A-frame house. And you have to use lots of roofs to really create the shape, and I'm going to explain you how you can create this yourself. So essentially you have to start off by building a room in the center. This is what I did, and this is going to be the livable space, the space that your Sims will actually be able to use. So you build a room in the center. At the bottom you could use any wall height, but in this case I have decided to use the lowest wall height because it all comes down to the proportions, and the taller or bigger in general, also when it comes to width the room in the center is, the bigger the whole triangle will get. And I was kind of aiming for a more compact build here. And after building your room in the center, you want to add a regular gabled roof at the top. So you only have a room and a roof on top, very simple. And then you want to use half gabled roofs, one on each side, to really create the shape of a triangle. And here's where things might get tricky. You really want to find the correct angle and the perfect width for your half gabled roofs so it really aligns and looks like a triangle. You just have to figure this out, play around with it a little bit, and there's one trick that is really necessary in my opinion for a build like this. So if you would like to create functional attics, for example, when you select the roof and when you click on the arrow to change the height, you can hold down Alt on your keyboard and then you can adjust the height smoothly. When you don't hold Alt, when you do it the regular way, the roof just kind of jumps so that different steps and you can't really find the perfect spot. But if you hold on Alt, you can adjust the height smoothly and you can just find the perfect spot. And you can add a roof trim, and as soon as you add a roof trim you can really tell if you have found that sweet spot, because the roof trim is going to disappear where the two roofs are meeting and it really turns into one roof essentially. And this is a little trick if you want to make really sure that everything is aligning perfectly. And in my opinion, as soon as you've mastered this, you can build functional attics, skylights, different things, because essentially the method is the same. I have made a tutorial for attics in the past, and I've used this method multiple times, and essentially it's the same. So this is kind of a fundamental method when it comes to roofing in The Sims, and as soon as you've mastered this, you can really create all kinds of different things. And we have the room in the center, which is going to be the space that we can actually furnish, and I decided to expand the build a bit. So I wanted to have an additional room on the side. This will be the bedroom. Not only does this look a bit more interesting because I was able to turn this into some type of sunroof or balcony at the top, but this way I was also able to make the whole build a bit bigger. You could also just build the triangle and then you just make the triangle a bit bigger. This build is relatively compact or tiny, so I decided to take this route. So here at this point we have the triangular shape. Then I have added the room, and I also added another triangle at the top on the sunroof, and I just wanted this to look fancy. This is really just a roof, nothing else. And I've used a small base game window to decorate the whole wall, and then I wanted to hide the edges, so I did something to make it look a little bit more polished. I have used the Sparta Stony Goodness slab and the 2 mod to rotate this object, and then I attached it to the wall essentially to just hide the edges and to really create this A-frame look. This is optional, so if you want to build an A-frame house, this is just really for decorative purposes. It also looks like a proper A-frame house if you don't do this. I just wanted to mention this because that's what I did in this video for this build. And yeah, let's talk about the skylights. As I have said, the method is always the same. You align your roofs properly and you simply use the glass roof swatch to create the skylights, and you expand the eaves. If this is confusing for you, you might want to take a look at my attic tutorial, but this is how I have created these skylights. I just wanted to have a really simple shape, but at the same time I wanted to add some stuff that just makes everything look a bit more complex and interesting. So I was going for some skylights. Then I have all these tiny windows in the front, and I then decided to landscape a bit. As you can here see, these debug rocks are from the new My Wedding Stories pack, but you could use just any rock for this. There are lots of base game debug rocks, for example, and if you don't like to use debug, you could use regular rocks. I'm also going to use the regular base game rocks for this build. And I just placed them. I've used the pond tool to create the little pond below, and I then just wanted to have a seating area on the outside, just some plants. I was trying to make this look a bit minimalistic and modern. At the same time, I wanted it to look really natural and overgrown, and I simply decided to have a really random landscaping approach. So I've just placed different plants, and as you can see here, just different things to make it look really natural and realistic, just like its environment, because Granite Falls is just stunning, really natural, a beautiful forest. And I decided to keep the house itself really minimalistic, simple, and clean. So we have a nice contrast essentially. So I didn't place too many things on the patio area or the balcony at the top, but landscaping was so much fun because I just added random stuff here and there, and this can be amazing because it looks super natural and super fun, and I just love the pond tool. I don't know why I'm not using it more. Like when they've announced it, I was all over the pond tool, and I've created lots of lakes and ponds using the pool tool in the past, but then when the pond tool came out, I haven't used it as much as I thought I would. But I don't know, I just noticed this. I'm going to use it more in the future, I guess. I think when it comes to my builds, I sometimes have like certain phases. Like sometimes I have a really modern phase, and then I want to build smaller builds, for example. And I definitely had a phase in the past where I've used the pool tool to create all these lake houses and stuff. And I feel like when the pond tool came out, I was already kind of over it because I had this lake house phase in the past, if this makes sense. But yeah, the tool is amazing, and I'm definitely going to use it. Speaking of tool, I have used the tool mod by Twisted Maxi for this build, just for this area in the front where I have retreated the Sparty Stony Goodness slab. And as always, a disclaimer, this build is CC friendly and modded. You don't need the mod to grab this from the gallery. Everything will still be where it's supposed to be, including all the Sparty Stony Goodness slabs which I had rotated. And here I'm furnishing. I wanted this to be really modern, yet inviting, and I was like really confused which color to choose. Like here I'm using this very light brown. I wanted this to be really warm and inviting, but eventually, as you will see, I'm going to change the color and it's going to be much more dark and modern, just like the exterior. I don't know, but at some point I just noticed that I have like no idea what to do color-wise and that I have to change things up. Here I wanted to have a dining room area, and I then noticed that I was running out of space, so I decided to make the bedroom a bit smaller. I also removed the TV because there was just no space for the TV. I'm going to create a small TV area in another area. This house is relatively compact, at least when it comes to my builds, like compared to other builds. This is not really a proper tiny build, but it's like really compact, like really compact when you look at this. We have a small kitchen, we have a sofa, the dining area. It's really modern, really compact, and the new rug is from the My Wedding Stories pack. It comes in lots of different swatches, and there is a plain black swatch and a plain white swatch, and I love this rug so much. Some of you might remember my phase where all that I had used was the nifty knitting rug, and I feel like we have now entered the My Wedding Stories rug phase. It's just so huge and so beautiful. It has a lovely shape. Like it's kind of, it has this elongated rectangular shape. It's perfect for really big living rooms, big dining room areas. Here I haven't sized it up because it was just so like such a small build, but generally it's amazing. And I then just decorated more and more. I really wanted to clutter this space without going overboard. I feel like this is what makes smaller builds look so beautiful, that you kind of try to clutter them and add more and more stuff, but at the same time I was going for this really clean look. I don't know, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just trying to make this look great, and I was changing my mind constantly. Like at first I wanted to have warmer colors, and then I wanted to have clutter, then I wanted everything to be minimalistic, and I then also added lots of blue, as you can see, because I have placed these curtains from the new pack, and they are a really dark navy blue, and I then I thought that they were black or something, and then I noticed that they are blue, and I love this, so I just added more blue details here and there. Like this base game dresser is also like this really dark blue, and I then just added more blue accents to different areas. And this is the bathroom. This is like relatively spacious compared to the size of the house, but I wanted this to be extra fancy. So I built a walk-in shower. I've used 2 walls, and then I used the same windows that I had used on the outside. Also 2 columns and a bathtub, just really fancy. I decorated this a little bit. I wanted this to have the same color scheme as the rest of the build essentially, and I just want this to be very modern. And I've used the new towels. I really like to use them now for modern bathrooms because they now have some really neutral swatches and not only this pink and blue and stuff. And yeah, this is it. Here you can see some screenshots. This build is available in the gallery. My ID is KateEmerald, and the trade files are available on my Patreon. And speaking of which, it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons. A big thank you to Asia, Don Bryce, Wishka MD, Sarah Diaz, Saturated Spark, Shannon McClam, Telena Lynn, Two Cats Tailoring, Vicky S, and Ura. Thank you so much for your huge support. A big thank you to all my other Patreons, and thank you to anyone who watches my videos. I love you so much. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you've enjoyed this build and the video, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.